Well, the U.S. Senate is quiet today, but next week the walls will echo when members take up new gun legislation prompted by the killings of 6 adults, 21st graders at Sandy Hook School in Connecticut. It might sound something like this. On the right, we have Republican strategist Alex Castellanos, and on the left, Democrat Paul Begala. Take it away, gents.
Alex, as you well know, I'm kind of a left-wing gun nut. I own 17 guns and bought most of them after President Clinton signed the Brady Bill, which required background checks, and which Ronald Reagan supported. Now, I'm not a felon, I'm not mentally ill, I'm not a wife beater, I'm not a terrorist, so I passed the background check quite easily. But 1.4 million bad guys have been stopped by the Brady Bill. And yet, there's still way too many loopholes in the system, and so there's this new bipartisan bill that's trying to close them, at least a few of them. 90% of Americans support stronger background checks, Alex, but the right-wing Republicans, they oppose them. They say, well, what we really want to do is enforce the laws that are already in the books. But they didn't want those laws in the books in the first place. And then they say, well, we should focus on mental health. I agree. But then they cut Medicaid, which is the single largest payer of mental health care in America. I think President Obama's got it right. He has called for an all-of-the-above strategy: gun safety, better mental health care, and less violence in our culture. He's calling for these things not because he's a liberal, Alex, but because he's a dad, just like you, just like me. But he's a dad who has hugged the dads and moms of Newtown. Second Amendment, Alex, does not require the sacrifice of innocent children.
Paul, you passed a background check? Now I am worried. Let's see if you can pass a truth check. Of course, Democrats aren't proposing gun confiscation, just mandatory gun buybacks. Now that's slick. And Paul, you know that more background checks wouldn't have stopped the tragedies at Aurora, Tucson, or Sandy Hook. Under President Obama, federal prosecutions have fallen to their lowest level in a decade. And Joe Biden's excuse? Well, he said, we don't have time to prosecute everybody who lies on a background check. Let's make the time, Joe. The real problem is that politicians like you are getting more credit for passing new gun laws than enforcing old ones. That's why places like D.C. and Chicago, with the most gun control laws, still have the most gun violence. Here's an idea. Instead of meaningless laws that protect politicians' careers, maybe we should protect the lives of the children we love.
All right, thanks, guys. The Senate debate is next week, and we hope you'll follow it with us here on CNN. As Americans scramble to wrap up